When I first moved into the neighborhood, I thought joining the Homeowners Association would be a harmless formality. I quickly learned otherwise. The HOA president, a middle-aged woman named Karen, seemed to have made it her personal mission to control every square inch of the community. From the color of front doors to the type of flowers planted in the yard, she hovered over everything. At first, I tried to brush off her nitpicking, thinking she was just passionate about appearances. But I didn't expect her to fixate on something as simple and trivial as my trash cans. It started innocently enough. Every Thursday, the garbage truck rolled through the neighborhood around 9 in the morning. Like everyone else, I set my cans out the night before. For weeks, I noticed that by morning one of my cans would mysteriously be tipped over. At first, I assumed it was raccoons, or maybe the wind. But the weather was calm, and oddly, no one else's cans ever seemed disturbed. My suspicion grew when I caught a glimpse of someone in the early dawn walking near my driveway. It wasn't a raccoon, it was Karen. Karen treated the neighborhood like her kingdom. She always wore her bright pink jogging outfit, carrying a clipboard even when she was out walking her little white dog. One morning, I peered from my blinds and saw her deliberately push my trash can over, glance around, and keep walking as if nothing had happened. I was stunned. She wasn't even hiding it. This wasn't about rules anymore. This was about control, and about her sending me a message. That was the day I decided I wasn't going to take it quietly anymore. At first, I tried diplomacy. I walked up to her during an HOA meeting and casually brought it up. "Hey, I think someone keeps knocking over my trash can," I said, smiling. Her face hardened instantly. "Well, maybe if you followed the guidelines and kept them properly stored, that wouldn't be an issue," she said, loud enough for everyone in the room to hear. The other neighbors avoided eye contact. She was flexing her power, and I was the target. That smug smirk on her face told me everything I needed to know. She wasn't going to stop. I tried ignoring it for a couple more weeks, but each time I found my trash spilling across the driveway, my patience wore thinner. One morning, as I picked up soda cans rolling down the street, I thought, enough is enough. Karen thrived on intimidation, but I wasn't about to live under her thumb. I needed to teach her a lesson, something subtle, something that would stop her dead in her tracks. I didn't want to get into a shouting match or call the police. I wanted her to feel the embarrassment of her own behavior. That weekend, I went shopping for supplies. I bought a brand new trash can, but this wasn't just any trash can. I installed a motion sensor inside it, connected to a small speaker and a battery-powered air horn. With a little rigging, I set it so that the moment the lid was jostled or the can was tipped, the horn would blare like a foghorn. Not only that, but I tucked a cheap Wi-Fi camera inside the garage, pointed right at the cans. If Karen thought she could keep getting away with this, she was about to be proven very wrong. The first night I put the can out, I could barely sleep. I sat by the window, sipping coffee, waiting. Sure enough, at 6:15 a.m., I saw her pink tracksuit would come striding down the sidewalk. She glanced around, like a thief in broad daylight, then reached out and shoved the can with her foot. The moment she did, the trash can roared with the deafening blast of the air horn. Karen jumped back so hard, she nearly fell onto the curb. Her little dog barked like crazy, and she clutched her chest as if she'd seen a ghost. I laughed so hard, I nearly spilled my coffee. But the best part, the camera caught everything. Karen looking around in panic, the air horn echoing through the street, and her sprinting away, dragging her terrified dog behind her. For once, she looked powerless, ridiculous even. I saved the video immediately. I had proof now, undeniable proof of her harassment, but I wasn't going to use it yet. I wanted to see if she'd try again. Some people never learn until they're humiliated twice. I was willing to wait and let her dig her own hole deeper. The next week, she avoided my house entirely. I thought maybe the message had sunk in, but I was wrong. Instead of leaving my weekend alone, she tried a new tactic, sending me a written notice from the HOA. It accused me of disturbing the peace with unauthorized noise devices on my property. I almost choked reading it. She was reporting me for the very trap that had only gone off because of her actions. She had no shame. That's when I realized she wasn't just a nosy neighbor. She was a full-blown bully. I sent a polite but firm email to the HOA board, attaching the video file. This was the disturbance, I wrote. If the president had not been trespassing on my property and vandalizing my trash cans, no noise would have occurred. Within an hour, I received replies from 2 board members apologizing. Clearly, they had no idea what Karen was up to. For once, the power dynamic shifted. Karen wasn't the queen anymore. She was just a petty woman caught in the act. And the best part? Word spread fast through the neighborhood. Neighbors who had avoided me before suddenly started chatting with me in the driveway. A few quietly admitted that Karen had pulled similar stunts on them, nitpicking their lawn, moving their decorations, even filing petty complaints. But no one had ever caught her red-handed. My little trash can sting had exposed the truth. Karen's empire of intimidation was crumbling. For the first time, I saw her walk down the street without her usual swagger. She avoided eye contact. She knew I had her cornered, and she had no idea what I'd do next with that video. Of course, I wasn't cruel. I had no interest in blasting the video on social media or humiliating her beyond reason. My goal wasn't revenge. It was peace. So when the next HOA meeting rolled around, I brought my laptop. As Karen began her usual speech about community standards, I simply clicked play. The room filled with the sound of the air horn, and the sight of Karen leaping 3 feet into the air played on the screen. Gasps, chuckles, and then full-blown laughter erupted from the neighbors. Karen turned crimson, sputtering, "That video is doctored." No one believed her. The evidence was clear. One board member leaned forward and said, "Karen, this is unacceptable. You've been harassing residents." For the first time, she had no words. She packed up her clipboard, muttering under her breath, and stormed out of the meeting. A week later, she quietly stepped down as HOA president, citing health reasons. Everyone knew the truth. She'd been dethroned by the very trash can she thought she could bully. The neighborhood felt lighter, freer, almost overnight. It was amazing how much peace came from removing one toxic person from power after that. Life went back to normal. My trash cans stayed upright, my driveway stayed clean, and I no longer dreaded HOA notices in my mailbox. Funny enough, people started waving at me more, even inviting me to barbecues. I guess once they saw someone stand up to Karen, they realized they didn't have to be afraid either. In a strange way, the whole trash can ordeal brought the community closer together. We joked about it sometimes, the day the trash can fought back. It became neighborhood lore, a story people loved to retell. As for Karen, she still lives in the neighborhood, but she keeps to herself now. No more clipboards, no more pink jogging outfits strutting around like she owns the place. When I see her, she avoids my eyes. And that's fine with me. I never wanted a war. I just wanted respect and to be left alone. In the end, all it took was one cleverly rigged trash can to teach her that lesson. So whenever I roll my cans out on Wednesday night, I can't help but smile, because Karen definitely didn't see that one coming.